Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze. Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Freeze Podcast, the podcast about hip hop chatter. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Zelda, and now I'm off on a quest to find the worst rap album of all time. Getting back to the swing of things is never easy, and that's why today I've decided to suffer for views. There's no better way than to get an audience than to suffer for views. So, of course, I decided to go through some of the worst recent projects over the last couple of years. And today's contender is none other than Lil Xan's Total Xanarchy. But before I get into that, here is a word from our sponsors. These days, you can never be too careful. Lots of advertisers and even potential hackers can be lurking about. That's why it's best to get yourself a secure VPN. You wouldn't leave the house without clothes, would you? You need to cover yourself. Atlas VPN blocks ads, trackers, and even malicious websites with Tracker Blocker, and even protects your digital accounts and data with Data Breach Monitor. Atlas VPN also ensures a secure and seamless browsing experience, in addition to offering ultra-fast 4K streaming with their optimized servers. Visit atlasvpn.sjv.io/2chillmedia to get over 80% off today. Lil Xan. Lil Xan, of course, was the living embodiment of everything wrong with the SoundCloud era. Depressed kids from the suburbs with face tattoos making low effort and often even more low quality music. Lil Xan's music is inane, insipid, and uninspired, but just how bad is his debut album? Well, to begin, we are given an intro track where Lil Xan dispels the rumors that he is drug addiction incarnate, and that Xanax bars, do not in fact make him who he is, which of course is a complete and total lie, and sounds more like he's trying to convince himself more than his audience, like we are listening to someone doing half-assed Tony Robbins affirmations for the day. Then things take a turn when Xan tries to do social commentary, but saying he hates how we are measured by our views, trying to instill some social commentary, then proceeds to spend the rest of the song flexing. Talk about a lack of self-awareness. So then we get a song called TikTok that has nothing to do with either the social media platform or time. I think in the beginning of the song, he also said this is his concept song, or he's in his concept bag, or something to that effect, with a hook more repetitive than Gucci Gang. The only thing that redeems the song at all is a surprisingly good effort by 2 Chainz, who uses this opportunity to throw some clever bars about Xanax into the mix. But the absolute worst track on this album may be Diamonds, with Lil Xan saying, "Diamonds be wet on his wrist." Now, okay, we've all heard the metaphor of diamonds and icy jewelry and rappers calling themselves icy with their jewelry. But how do you mess up the metaphor this badly? Diamonds are icy. They are solid. If they are wet, that would mean they are falling apart. This premise was so poorly conceived, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Moving on. There's another song called The Man, which has a feature. So, at least, Schoolboy Q had a song called Man of the Year. I'm pretty sure there's nobody featuring on a song called Man of the Year. It's Schoolboy Q who's the Man of the Year. But no, Lil Xan is the man who then proceeds to have a feature on a song called The Man. Again, there seems to be a lack of logic here. Well, on this song, so the feature's called Steve Cannon, because of course he is, and Lil Xan gives off a performance with a delivery doing its best Playboi Carti impression without the talent to make it interesting. And but the grand cherry of it all was his feature, Steve Cannon, saying the words, "I need fellatio, white or black, my diamond's racial." I mean, granted, this was back in 2018, but I do believe that the racial climate in America was not good. Why invoke any mention of race on a track about diamonds and flexing for the sole purpose to rhyme? This, again, poorly conceived. Truly, a masterpiece. Shakespeare would be proud. I literally had to stop the project at this point and really take it all in. Yeah. And when I returned back to the project, I caught wind of a song called "Saved by the Bell" after the popular '90s sitcom about teenagers in high school. So, I was hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. Now, "Saved by the Bell" is an XX Tentacion ripoff. The hook actually works with, but the lyrics on this Lil Xan project are so horrid that you feel like you're losing brain cells by the minute. And by the way, this project is almost a gig on the disk space. So it really would have done well to cut a lot of the tracks that are absolute filler. So you got a track like "Saved by the Bell" with, an okay beat, an okay hook, but then lyrics that go skirt, skirt, skirt. What? Crash the whip, I hit and dip. Yeah. No, I can do that better. Skirt, skirt, skirt. Hey, what? Crash the whip, I hit and dip. Yeah. And then there are, of course, references to his beloved G-Wagon that he has yet to pay off and is currently in the custody of his manager for outstanding debts. Now, "Moonlight," surprisingly, was the best track on this album, with a Charlie XCX feature, with their voices blending to make a song with actual chemistry. Xan also sounds somewhat focused here for a change, with his flow kind of working into the mix there. But the songs after that, there's "Deceived" and "Betrayed," the song that made him famous. But "Deceived" and "Betrayed" are essentially the same thing. So why have a song called "Deceived," then put "Betrayed" on there? Just take out the "Deceived" track. It's like, it's a short track. Like, who is this for? How many times? The other thing is, it's the repetition on this album. My God. How many times is Xan going to make the same chorus of calling his friends his enemies? He sounds like the goddamn Tinder swindler proclaiming his enemies are after him. This project has not only aged like milk, but is even worse in retrospect, given Lil Xan's total lack of personal accountability. There are surprisingly a few good moments with, like I said, songs like "Moonlight" and Xan tapping into the road that's been paved before him. Like I said, with XX Tentacion and kind of like a Post Malone sound a little bit. But, when he's not ripping off other people, there's a lot to be desired there. So ultimately, this album lacks cohesion and, could have been cut into be a decent EP if it just maybe had, the YG song, the "Moonlight" song, "Betrayed," which was his biggest single, and maybe like, 2 other tracks, and it would have been a pretty good EP. But this thing suffers from being too long, and Lil Xan is the worst thing about this project. He is constantly the worst. He's constantly being outperformed by his features. Like, he's on the YG track, for example, and he only says, "You ain't from around here," and he's on a song with YG, who delivers a verse, but Lil Xan is only on the hook on his own album. What the fuck, man? Terrible. Not good. Possibly the worst rap album of all time.